class fighter.
Well, Skye, congratulations, a return to the ring down at 122 pounds. Just talk to me. The smile on your face says it all.
Yeah, it was good. It was a little sigh of relief, a little bit, obviously.
The fact that Skye Nicolson is a championship-level boxer just doesn't make sense.
Oh, it's a lovely left hand. The referee's having a look and jumps in. That's a fantastic stoppage.
And yet, she's living proof that looks can be deceiving. As one of the foremost fighters within the Australian boxing movement, Nicolson, at 30 years old, is in the prime of her career. And she's picking up some serious momentum, earning new fans with each passing fight. All in all, she's one of boxing's biggest surprise packages. And for this video, we're taking a deep dive into her career.
These will work on from sparring. You don't get that record.
Born in Australia to Scottish and English parents, Skye Nicolson was destined to be a fighter from a very young age, finding her way into her first boxing gym at just 12. As it turned out, this would be a match made in heaven. Raised on the Gold Coast, Nicolson grew up inside the Jamie Nicholson Memorial Gym in Yatala, named after her older brother Jamie, an Australian Olympian who died tragically in a car accident before she was born. Boxing wasn't just part of the family story. In many ways, it was the family story. Surrounded by future world champions like Chernika Johnson and Skye Nicolson, Nicolson quickly developed into one of Australia's standout amateur talents. After winning bronze at the 2016 World Championships, she dropped multiple weight classes and captured Commonwealth Games gold on home soil in 2018. From there came the Olympics, where she reached the quarterfinals in Tokyo before narrowly losing to Great Britain's Karis Ardingstall. Nicolson closed her amateur career with more than 100 wins before taking her sharp footwork, slick southpaw style, and growing profile into the pro ranks. Sarah Mahfood walked in carrying the kind of experience that immediately changes a fight's atmosphere.
That's what she's done. She's done just that.
I don't know if she's been hit clean 3 times yet.
Yeah.
Former world champion, championship rounds, years spent dealing with pressure at the highest level.
They have like a big punch or something, but just because she's fought against men doesn't mean that she...
Nothing about her approach was rushed or reckless. She understood pacing, positioning, and how to stay composed when fights tightened up late.
Yeah, the proper preparation for the fight, because she needs to be cutting off the ring and figuring out a way to get...
For Skye Nicolson, this was less about potential and more about proof.
Here, Skye Nicolson has won most of, if not all, of the prior 9 rounds.
Mahfood represented the sort of opponent who exposes weaknesses. The fundamentals aren't truly world-class.
She just be running forward punching. She has nothing to lose at this point.
Nicholson's movement and clean scoring had carried her this far, but this matchup demanded consistency against someone who already belonged on the championship stage.
Boxing that she made last summer. Prior to last summer, she was really thinking about going back.
Would she sink or swim? That was the question. With the vacant WBC interim featherweight belt on the line, it was clear that the stakes for this one were truly huge.
Changed her strength and conditioning coach. She changed her regimen. She really focused on becoming.
But even though her pro career was in its early years, Skye had a lot of potential under her belt. The gulf in technical quality between these two was very clear. And with 10 rounds to work, it was looking as though Skye was about to pitch a shutout on the judges' scorecards. Mahfood's experience showed in every round. Calm under pressure, disciplined with her positioning, difficult to break down cleanly. Nicolson still managed to keep the fight where she wanted most of the night. Against a former world champion, maintaining that level of control says far more than any single highlight ever could. It was clear that she was building something special here.
WBC Featherweight Champion of the World, Skye
Diana Vargas came forward with intent from the start of her career, throwing volume and trying to pull opponents into uncomfortable exchanges.
Aggressiveness of Diana Vargas.
Todd said it last round though, one and done. We need a...
That naturally made her a useful opponent for someone like Skye Nicolson.
They want that in Vargas' corner. They said 2 more rounds. This girl,
whose style relied on denying exactly that kind of chaos. But how would they collide on fight night? That was the question.
A little pirouette there from Vargas. The referee had to say stop.
Nicholson's rise had been built through precision, footwork, and a calmness that stood out even early on.
Of Skye's fight, that jab is your best weapon.
Walked into a jab.
Vargas wasn't entering with major championship pedigree, but her aggression threatened to disrupt rhythm if given space to build momentum.
Gonna stop, but she just doesn't have the right kind of...
It created a fight where distance management mattered constantly, because once exchanges became messy, the dynamic changed completely.
Guy's gonna walk into.
Vargas let it walk into a straight left hand right on the chin. I mean,
sure, the advantage in pro fights was on Vargas' side, but when push came to shove, you could tell that they were operating on 2 very different levels of technical skill.
if she would land that earlier, it would have more impact because Vargas was getting really aggressive.
Skye was in command, winning every single round, utterly nullifying her opponent's offensive weapons.
That was a nice clean uppercut that's been there the entire fight.
This was a blueprint to a lot of her early fights, and these opponents, even if they weren't scrubs, were receiving a lesson about boxing fundamentals time and time again.
Done it. Anytime your opponent falls off guard, they're going to be vulnerable to an uppercut from that south.
Nicholson, as it turns out, was a very willing teacher. The pressure was there throughout, but Nicholson kept pulling the fight back into her own rhythm.
If she would land that earlier, it would have more impact because Vargas was getting really aggressive.
Vargas pushed forward, yet the spacing and timing stayed mostly under control. It became another example of how Skye's composure often dictates the shape of fights before opponents can truly settle into theirs.
This decision, still undefeated, and still the WBC featherweight champion of the world, Skye Nicolson.
Raven Chapman wasn't arriving as a stepping stone. She brought an unbeaten record, real domestic momentum, and a style built around pressure and work rate.
That's a good footwork, but Raven is sharp.
And Skye finally sat down on a punch and landed it.
There was genuine intrigue around the matchup because both women had been climbing through the division at the same time, just in very different ways.
Body shot there from Chapman as well. Just getting close to Nicholson.
Chapman liked to force exchanges and build physical rounds. Skye Nicolson preferred space, angles, and clean scoring from range.
She's done really well here, Nicholson, because the first 2 rounds weren't very...
That contrast gave the fight an edge before it even started. Chapman's aggression threatened to compress the ring, while Nicholson's entire game depended on keeping everything stretched out and under control over distance.
Just avoids any further shots coming our way.
Only one of them would be allowed to proceed. The unbeaten Chapman had won all 9 of her fights up to this point. So the major question coming in was how she would deal with a fight that wasn't going her way. And with this Saudi Arabian audience watching eagerly, Skye went to work. Most unbeaten fighters eventually run into challenges they simply can't overcome, and in this case,
She's done really well here, Nicholson, because the first 2 rounds weren't very...
Chapman was yet another accomplished fighter who was getting taught a very important lesson about the levels that exist within the boxing ring. In the end, this was Nicholson's fight, and once again, she proved why there was so much hype behind her. Yet another sturdy challenge was met head-on and overcome with relative ease. Nicholson didn't just look the part, she very clearly brought technical skills to the table that were a lot better than some people thought.
Still
Women's WBC Featherweight Champion of the World.
Carla Gonzalez entered without major international recognition, but fights like these still mattered during Skye Nicholson's early progression.
You can add a bit of more authority to a game, that only makes it a better fighter.
They've done the right thing as well, just a couple of pounds over super bantamweight division, just to...
Activity builds sharpness, especially for a fighter so dependent on timing and movement. In other words, this was a stay busy fight.
That O's gone and she can go about her work now and start to prove people wrong. And one thing we know for sure, she's a very good boxer.
Gonzalez brought forward pressure and willingness to engage, which naturally placed emphasis on Nicholson's control of distance.
It's really good to see. Lovely hand, right hand.
Yeah, that was a lovely shot from Skye Nicolson. As you say, Shannon really...
By this point, Skye's style had already become familiar. Measured footwork, clean scoring, very few wasted movements.
The shots through the target, looking aggressive and extremely spiteful here in this opening round at the AO Arena in Manchester.
Pure efficiency of motion. The challenge wasn't dramatic danger, it was maintaining discipline across rounds against someone determined to break rhythm and create exchanges wherever possible inside the pocket.
Looking really spiteful.
Yeah, different look to her, wasn't it? It was good to see. And I think, you know,
it was becoming very apparent here that Skye would not need to drag this one out unnecessarily. If she pressed her advantage just a bit more, it seemed like Gonzalez would eventually break.
Nowhere near where I am.
I'm sure she'll have her sights set on the big fight that's happening on Friday between IBO and Dustin.
And you could tell that Nicholson sensed it. Skye would certainly fight better opponents in her career, and here she was showing us all that this was yet another fighter who probably didn't deserve to be in the same ring as her.
Some skill. She just takes half a step back, avoids the shots, and she's straight back in your face again.
But I think what Shannon's there is not putting her position, the way she's putting her position together, because she's staying fluent with it, but making sure the last one's the hard shot.
Now we were starting to see Skye coming into her own as a finisher. Now she was starting to put the pieces together in a way that was resulting in quicker, more decisive, and destructive performances.
Smoothness, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's a lovely left hand. The referee's having a look and jumps in. That's a fantastic stoppage.
All in all, she was becoming a much more fearsome challenge. Another step in the right direction for sure.
From Skye Nicolson, what a win, Shannon Ryan.
Yeah, that was lovely, and I liked how...
Urvashi Singh was outgunned in this fight on paper, and she had absolutely no idea how outgunned she was about to be in practice too.
So she's captured a handful of belts, which I mentioned previously, and her trainer wrote them down and said, here's.
Nicholson's own skill set and pedigree dwarfed her opponents on paper, and the main question on everyone's mind now is whether Skye could step up her game and get this one done with a finish.
What she does looks unreal, you know. Look at that.
Nice combination punching from Skye Nicolson.
She wasn't really known as an out-and-out finisher up to this point, but after the last bout, it was clear that there was an evolution happening in her game.
Oh, she hurt with that body shot. Oh, you got to keep going. Nice guy. That's what we want to see.
Only time would tell just how far she could take it. Singh, even from the earliest stages, looked out of place in this bout. Skye might not be a natural finisher, but after all that pro and amateur experience, you'd better believe that she knows how to capitalize on a clear advantage. Before long, whatever confidence Singh had coming in was utterly crumbling. She just didn't look like she had any desire to be anywhere near Nicholson as the fight went on. When the finishing sequence finally came, it was almost surprising how easy it was for her. This was a total mismatch. The fans were quick to call Singh a can after this one, and it's hard to disagree. That said, Skye went out there and did what she had to do. And for her contemporaries, that was a pretty scary thought.
Make some noise, Brisbane! The returning Skye Nicolson!
and Luna's background carried more weight than previous opponents, with experience at higher competitive levels and exposure to championship environments.
15 seconds of the round as Niccolson just continues to lead the dance here. Running Luna.
That immediately shifted expectations. This wasn't a developmental matchup, but a test against someone with legit experience.
Continuing to threaten with that lead hand. There it is, but a nice right hand from Cobrita Luna.
33 fights worth of experience, in fact. Would Skye rise to the occasion or fall short and disappoint?
Yeah, she got controlled by that lead right jab the entire night, and she didn't even try to move her head.
Nicholson's style faced a clear examination here, especially in maintaining rhythm against an opponent capable of sustained discipline and tactical awareness.
Opportunities close there.
Luna threw a right hand, missed. She could have thrown it.
Luna's experience meant fewer openings would appear without being earned, raising the importance of accuracy and control, two things she excelled in.
Individual scorecards total in her world title fight. So this is
compared to her last few fights, this was a definite step up in quality. But would it result in a closer fight?
It's disappointing because she's a world champion type level.
20 seconds of the round.
Well, Luna would certainly make it competitive in spots, and the idea of Skye running away with every single round was not in the cards this time.
In the final 10 seconds of a dominant performance here in California.
But there was also a growing gulf between them as the bout wore on. Nicholson is the type of fighter who can rise to a challenge, and in this case, that's exactly what happened. In the end, she would not be denied this win. Luna's experience showed in the patience and resilience she carried through the fight, but Nicholson still managed to keep large stretches at her preferred range. Nothing came easily, which made the consistency of Skye's control stand out even more once the final bell arrived. In the end, the win was a well-earned one.
Skye Nicolson.
Mariah Turner entered with limited exposure at elite levels, but she brought a solid 12-1 record with her.
And another one. That was a hook to go with it.
Making her a worthy challenger to Nicholson's throne. But could her more limited approach make her a danger to the superstar in front of her?
She does get through for a moment, this Turner. Well, Turner's strong.
Skye Nicholson's method remained unchanged. All she needed to do was continue to perform in the way that got her to the dance.
That's what she's setting up this all these. There she goes with the left hand. She rocks Mariah Turner.
Turner was exactly the type of fighter who could upset her if she took her eye off the ball. Luckily, she wasn't that type of fighter, not even close. This time, Nicholson was getting back to her dominant ways, ready to make yet another definitive statement about her superiority.
Seconds left in round 6. Nicholson, she takes a shot. Here goes Turner.
The longer this one went on, the clearer it became. Skye wasn't even willing to drop a single round here.
At the end of round 6, Nicholson went at her.
Turner was getting outclassed here. There's no other way to say it. And with the interim bantamweight title now secure, this fight was the perfect springboard that would eventually lead her towards undisputed status. In the end, it took the entirety of 10 rounds for her to get the job done, but Turner simply wasn't up to the task.
You should the head. She didn't like that at all. And she is trying to finish.
Nicholson had too many tools at her disposal, too many potential methods of victory. And when all was said and done, only one of these women was ever going to leave with the W. But what do you think of this surprise package in women's boxing? And how far do you think she can go in her career? Let us know in the comments below before subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. As always, thanks for watching.